Hey everybody, welcome to Vikings Happy Hour. Tonight, a little bit different. We're going to be going through a therapy session. Let's hear everything, all your frustrations, bring them to the table, and Ryan, Dave, and I will help you sort through those feelings.
Don't forget your drinks. We need them tonight.
That's true.
Welcome to Vikings Happy Hour, where we mix our favorite beverage and talk of your Minnesota Vikings.
Hello everybody. Welcome to another week of Vikings Happy Hour. Like I said in the intro earlier, going to be a little bit different of a show tonight. The vibe, I think, is going to be a little bit different. Ryan, Dave, and I are here to help you guys and ourselves kind of sort through our frustrations. The Vikings are 3-4 off of a very winnable game, and I think the news kind of hurts even worse today. Now hearing about Aaron Rodgers uh, being placed on the COVID protocol, potentially an opportunity for this Vikings team to maybe gain some ground on the Packers while their star quarterback is out. Um, so you hated to lose in Cincinnati, you hated to lose against the Browns, you really hate to lose at home to the Cowboys and even to the Cardinals, and here we are. Uh, so I haven't talked with you boys uh, since the game went down, right? I think I just kind of backed off a little bit. So Ryan, I'll start with you. How are you feeling right now about the Vikings, or just about life in general? And then let's hear some minor takeaways from Sunday's performance?
Yeah, obviously, we're all kind of shell-shocked a little bit, I think. I mean, I don't think anyone went into that game once Dak was announced. Obviously, my record on this show now goes to 5-2 because I did predict the Cowboys to win, but that was with the Dak Prescott-led Cowboys. I didn't expect us to lose to a
Yes.
Cooper Rush-led Cowboys. So if I could have went back and changed my pick post-show, I would have. But now I'm sitting at 5-2. I was there live. I couldn't get rid of my tickets. I brought my son, took him out of trick or treating early. I'm like, buddy, this is a great game to go to. We should be able to whoop up on this team a little bit. Their offense is going to struggle a little. I'm like, it's even okay if you want to cheer for CD Lamb a little because they're not going to really do anything with it anyway. He might get a couple big catches. You can cheer for him because he's a big CD Lamb fan. He's got him on his fantasy team, and watching that game, they just they just stayed in it, and I'm like, how are they still in this game? I couldn't make any sense of it, and like I was saying pre-show, I was surrounded by Cowboy fans, and even they were like, "There's no way we win this game." Anything that good that happened, they're like, "Not getting my hopes up. We know that this is a far-fetched game for us to win. We're taking an L just for the sake of the longevity of the season." There's only one douchey Cowboys fan in front of me that night, and when they ended up winning the game, he's freaked out and was all in my face, and I'm like, "Cool, dude. I have a 8-year-old kid here. Like, congrats, cool." But yeah, it's just very frustrating that whether it's coaching, whether it's the quarterback, whether it's the defense. I mean, you can blame any sort of number of things, and if you're complaining about something, you're probably right. Like, it's not just one thing, and as a fan with high expectations, and one, I'm going to rant a little bit. We had a very high profile Vikings Twitter fanboy on here who's basically just trying to call attention to all the believers who still thinks the Vikings can rebound from this depressing few days. Danielle Hunter going out, Dallas, the Dallas loss, and rectify the season. Rectify the season, and by making the playoffs, reaching the playoffs. And he wanted people to comment so we can give them credit later. So they can say, "Hey, I'm better than you. I'm a better fan than you because I still believed in this team." You believed in this team to make the playoffs and rectify the season. For what? What good does making the playoffs do? I mean, sure, that's good. Congratulations, we made the playoffs. We stayed slightly above average, especially now that there's 7 teams that make the playoffs. It's not as hard to do. Our goal going into this season, signing Patrick Peterson, signing Xavier Woods, and I mean all these defensive guys, Breland, all these guys, was not to make the playoffs. It was to go deep into the. They were missing pieces to a championship team, to a team that has high expectations. Nobody in Vikings internal brass thought playoffs was good enough. They're all thinking this is deep run, NFC championship game, Super Bowl or bust.
And we have that confirmed, by the way.
Yes,
right? Like
exactly.
Darren Wolfson has been on record saying internally it needs to be a deep playoff run. So continue with your rant, though.
So to sit here and say that we're rectifying the situation by making the playoffs, that's not rectifying a damn thing. That's hitting the status quo, checking the mark off of the typical Viking season of we're slightly below average, then we're slightly above average, and then the next year we go slightly below, and then we go slightly above, and we just keep teeter-totting. Is that the right word? I don't know. On this purgatory, teetering around this purgatory that we're in. Like, and I think it was, I don't know, Chris Carter mentioned something, and some other like high-end media people were saying like the Vikings are just good enough to not be bad and not good enough to be good. Like, they're just somewhere in this middle ground, and I'm not okay with that. Like, I understand playoffs is fun and winning games, even if we win 9 games, that's great. But like, if it's not going anywhere, what the heck are we doing? I'm not sitting here trying to be a playoff team. I'm sitting here to be a NFC champion, NFL champion. And so I just get a little frustrated when I read things like that. I'm a little frustrated right now that like Vikings Twitter right now, our biggest hope in the moment right now is that Aaron Rodgers gets suspended because he's not vaccinated and he's been walking around without masks and writing the team charter and all this stuff. So like that's what we're like dwelling on right now and hoping that, oh, maybe we can turn our season around because they are out without their quarterback. Well, guess what? You know what? They're probably still going to win games, just like the Dallas Cowboys said.
Yeah, we
it
are.
Doesn't do anything.
The argument
We're
about
far too comfortable.
The argument about getting
quick,
to
Dave.
the playoffs is that if you get there, you may get lucky and get on a run. But
Sure.
the way you want to get there
get there
is as the number one seed, so you get to bye. You want to dominate. You don't want to squeak and slide in because some team failed to make a kick on that last game and you're just barely, hey, we're in, right? That's not how you want to do it. It doesn't build confidence.
That sometimes as Viking fans, and Ryan, you just kind of alluded to it a little bit, we tend to look for things that are not in our control and hope for that instead of fixing what we have internally. So like the Aaron Rodgers thing is a perfect example. We know come December, right, we'll be probably rooting for specific teams to win to help us, but we can't even take care of our own shit. So before I toss it over to Dave and kind of get his little vent session, everybody who's listening or is in chat, shoot us some of your frustrations and we'll talk through them and then we will feel better and move along to this week's game. But I do want to hear from Dave and I want to hear from you guys in chat. So Dave, how are you feeling? I feel like you were pretty outspoken, I think, in the chat.
In the chat, after the game, I'm tired. Hey, if we're going for 8-8 back in the days when we played 16 games, right? 9-8, right? And this was the first season under Zimmer, and we had a rookie quarterback or something like that. That'd be great, right? And then hope to squeeze in the playoffs, because we have hope and we know we're in a building process. Well, we brought pieces together that was supposed to work, right, on the defense, and some of it has. I mean, it hasn't been great, but some of it has. And we had an offense that we thought should be clicking and absolutely firing on all cylinders. And it's like the electronics in my truck every once in a while. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, right? And when it doesn't, you wonder, what the heck is going on? And this last game just was absolutely infuriating on one of my pet peeves, which happens to deal with check down Charlie. How you could throw 11 passes behind the line of scrimmage and 11 under 5 yards out of 35. And as our good friend of the show, Luke Braun, showed us today on his article, there was at least 11 wide open receivers on some of those passes deeper downfield. It irritates me. And the fact that he's now doing the blame game. Well, coach, let the coaches make the decision. Well, do you change things up on the offensive line? Let the coaches make the decision. At the beginning of the season, you'll remember Clint Kubiak says, no, we're giving him more power to do that. Well, he obviously doesn't. He wants to be coddled. He wants to be directed what to do. Because when have we ever seen him change a bunch of stuff up unless it's a quick smoke route? He doesn't. He doesn't go up there and go, oh, shit, I need to change the blocking. He leaves that to Bradbury and hopes Bradbury gets it. And, of course, the ball gets snapped and Bradbury gets forklifted up and run right back into him. He's a quarterback that's been in this league for 10 seasons. He should know how to do this. I just think he won't. I think he's a little insecure. But it's not all on Cousins, right? It's not all his deal either. Our head coach He's been in this league for what? Shit, 40 years, 35 years, right? He knows. Can he get his team together working on all cylinders? No, and he's frustrated as all get out. And today's press conference with him was bizarre, right? When he starts pulling out of his pocket stats and reading, we're 8th in this and 14th in that, and blah, blah. It's like, one, those don't mean anything right now. The only time stats mean anything is at the end of the season when you go, hey, I'm in the Super Bowl and I just won, right? That's the only time they mean squat, really. You could use them to get your team better, but if you're using them as an excuse, right, you're making an argument that people don't want to hear. And if you think you're doing this as a resume deal, we already know that if you want to continue coaching football, you'll be hired as a DC anywhere you want to go. But it's not that, Mike. It's about getting these men, and they're young men, together all on one page, working towards one goal, functioning as one single unit. And that's in all three phases, and getting them together. And that also includes your coaching staff. If Clint Kubiak is brilliant at scripting plays on that first drive, that's wonderful. Now foster that thinking that he does to put into that script, that he continues with that thinking as the game goes on. When you see him stutter or falter and go, oh shit, it's first down, what do? I'm on the second drive. Oh no, I don't know what I do. Here, I'm going to hand off the ball, right? No, let's get more aggressive and do it this way or do it that. But Zimmer isn't the only reason that all this is failing either. You also have a front office that hasn't done as well on drafts, especially at certain positions, and has wasted picks, even though they accumulate tons of them and gets good grades at the time, and then we don't see anything materialize on the field. And it's 1, 2, or 3 if we're lucky. And it should be more than that when you draft 15 people. And I understand first round, second round, third round on down, and which each percentage has, but it doesn't fit beyond the average norm for a GM. All right, if you take all GMs will do this level, and you may be just this good, but the guys that are reaching the Super Bowl are this good, you're not performing either, right? And then you throw in free agency on that, and we've had plenty of free agent failures.
Yeah.
It's all three put together. Now, who do you want to put as the focus? Obviously, during the season, the coach should be the one doing it. But it's frustrating, and it will end. I don't think we're going to make it through the season. He might get... Yeah. Everybody's calling for Zimmer's head now. It's useless to do it now. You get an interim coach, and then you might get that interim bump, and then you're stuck with that interim coach next year. You can't do any interviewing until 2 weeks prior to the end of the season, so there's no need to. Let him write it out. The quickest I see him getting fired, if Zimmer does get relieved, and he gets paid if he does, is after the Green Bay game, if we're embarrassed. If we lose to Baltimore and then lose to the Chargers, yeah, that's sort of understandable. But if we get embarrassed by Green Bay, that may be the soonest move. Otherwise, it's not going to be until close to the end of the season. Yeah, that's why I'm frustrated.
I think yeah, and that's what this is all about. And I see that the chat is kind of lighting up, and there's some comments that I saw in there that I kind of want to touch on. I'm going to butcher his name, or her name maybe. Nijin. Is that how you pronounce it? But anyway, they posted.
I think it's Win.
Is it Win? Okay. Well,
I think so. I'm not sure though.
But anyway, it brings up a good point. Where's the old Zimmer? Where's the guy that's going down swinging with attitude? We don't see it. I mean, we've called it out on this show countless times leading up to the season, through the first few weeks of the season. We've asked for the aggressiveness. I have been on record saying I thought Zimmer would be more aggressive this year. It's a make or break season. Why are you sitting here and being so passive aggressive with your offense? Be more aggressive. If you don't like how Kirk's doing, I don't at this point I don't care anymore. Yell at him on the sideline. Cause a scene. Everybody knows that shit's about to hit the fan if they keep losing. It's already so petty right now. They can say all they want to the cameras, but we can all read between the lines. Like, there's so much hatred right now between Kirk and Zim. It's it just fills up any press conference you see. You can just feel the tension between those two. I think Dave hit a good point, right? It's not all on one person either. I think
It's on
Zimmer
a
does
lot of them.
escape. I think Kirk takes a little more blame than he needs, and Zim doesn't take quite as much as he should. This is Zimmer's team, end of the day. This is his team. He is responsible for getting these players ready to play, buying into what he wants to do, and at the end of the day, he is the head coach. If he doesn't like how the offense is being called, then step in and do something about it. If he doesn't like what's going on defense, then step in and pull somebody out of the game. We got a comment on Twitter earlier today. What is with the reluctancy to pull guys when they're not performing? We
I
see
agree.
Bradbury struggle. I know he's been good in some moments, right? He's an agile center, helps with the scheme that we run, but in pass protection, he's a liability. We saw it on Sunday. We've seen it weeks before. Plug in Mason Cole. Let me see what we got in him. Let Prove to me that that's somehow worse. What about Wyatt Davis, right? He's a tenacious, he is at guard. His true position is guard, but he's a tenacious, aggressive lineman that can help maybe fortify the offensive line. And sometimes that's all you need, right? Sometimes that's all players need is just one shot. Put me in, coach. I'll prove to you that I can do better than what's his face. Now, we have seen the back end of that with Drew Samia. Sorry, Ryan. But that's just what I'm trying to say, right? We have other guys. And so if the person in front of them is not performing, let's see what the next guy does. If
Well,
I'm not
clearly what
performing
we
at
have
work,
isn't working, so might as well try it, right? Like, to your
exactly.
point, like, yeah.
Well, we may get
You
to
need.
that point in the season where it doesn't matter, and they do try,
Mm-hmm.
like sticking in Kellen Mond for a couple of games just to see what we got. How far is his
Yeah.
progression? It,
Just some more comments out here. We got one from Mary. Where's the emotion, the passion from Zimmer? I agree. He just looks deflated. He he in training camp, I thought I saw a different type of Zimmer, one that was going to be no nonsense, and he really has not been that. He has not matched his level of um, just his level at all from training camp. I think that he's been very, like I said, passive aggressive. He's definitely waved that white flag. Um,
And
whereas in the
in my
past, when he
opinion,
first got
really,
here,
sorry, man, not to cut you
no,
off, but in my opinion, really, I think what the issue is he's out of answers. Like, he's given every chance, every like answer he has for the situations, right? Like, all right, I didn't want Kirk Cousins. It didn't work season one. We kind of had success season two. Let's maybe try to meet with him more, right? Like, let's try to build that relationship. That's not working, right? I try to beef up my offensive line versus having these quick, agile guys for the zone read. They're still getting beat, right? I try
hmm
to um, run young guys on the defense so we can spend more money on the offense. Well, that shit the bed, right? Now I bring in all these veterans, and that's not working. I think he's just defeated. Like, he's out of answers, he's out of solutions, and now he's just like, I don't know what else to do. And I think somebody had
yeah,
commented, he looks like he's ready to retire. He might. I mean, we all, right or wrong, we saw that text message his daughter posted, and it's very sad to see. You don't want to see that. I mean, you don't want anyone to be feeling that way ever. And to our comments, Matt, to each other on that topic, probably shouldn't be posted or reported about. And I don't want to spend much time on it, but it's just, you can tell that he's just at a point where I don't think he has any more answers. I don't think he's maybe finding joy in this right now. And he's getting a lot of the blame where in the past he's been able to, well, my offense coordinator wasn't good, or my, defensive coordinator left, right? So now we're kind of retooling some things, or I don't have veterans
Yeah.
on defense, or whatever. I don't have an offensive line. He's always had an excuse, and really, we're we're not giving him any opportunity to have excuses anymore because he doesn't deserve them anymore. No offense, he just
Mm-hmm.
doesn't, right? And to Dave's comment
Yeah.
earlier around Cousins, like somebody posted on Twitter, and again, another high profile Twitter, Vikings Twitter guy, that, that's a coach's responsibility to call the timeouts, and that's not Cousins' fault. And there's a dynamic there that maybe we don't understand. That no, you're a leader of this football team. You're supposed to stick up for your offense. So if you need to call a timeout, to go to the sideline and say, "Coach, I want to go for this," and he says no, well, at least you can walk back to the huddle and say, "Hey guys, I called the timeout. I wanted us to go for it. He said no. I fought for us, but we're taking the knee." Right? Like,
Yeah.
but be the leader. Like, that's your job as a quarterback, is to be the leader, especially for that offense. Advocate for yourself, advocate for your teammates. You have two of the best receivers in the league on your side. You have one of the best running backs in the league on your side. You have a competent tight end, a competent wide receiver 3, a competent offensive line. You should be putting up points. And the fact that you can
Yeah.
only put up however many points we put up against a Dallas Cowboys team that has been letting up points.
16.
I know they get a lot of turnovers, and we only put up 16. You only put up 7 against the Browns. You only put up, what was it, 19 versus the Panthers. The Lions
Yep.
game was pathetic. Like, what are we doing? Like, even the Eagles put up like 44 points on the Lions. What are we
Mm-hmm.
doing? We have this top 10
Yeah.
quarterback. Where is he? We have this top 6 offense I was raving about in the offseason. Oh, we have this offense that's killer, and we just need to fix the defense, and we brought all the right free agents in. Where's the offense? I know the defense isn't good either. I'm not trying to put the blame only on the offense, but where is this? Where's this team that I was told by Jared Barnes, or whatever his name is, that this is a Super Bowl roster? Where is it? I don't see it.
I do want to counter your point on the defense, because I get that a lot of people are frustrated with the defense. I have my frustrations as well, right? Um, 2-minute offense or defense, I guess, uh, at the end of halves and even at the end of games, uh, they just are very soft in coverage, and that's a baffling thing to me. I know we've heard in the past that Zimmer just allows his corners to play off how they feel necessary, which, I'm not a defensive genius like Zimmer is. So if he feels like that's the best route, who am I to question that? But it just doesn't seem correct to have Cam Dantzler playing 8 yards off CeeDee Lamb when all they need is like 5 to gain. Like that, where is the logic in that? It
The
just doesn't
logic
make
comes
sense to
from
me.
give up 8 yards versus giving up 80. If he comes up and plays man and CD beats him right off the line of
But
scrimmage, it's an
but
80
Have
yard
that's
pass.
the
confidence in
whole.
yourself, though. Like, have confidence in yourself as a
That's
quarterback to
all
say,
back to
okay,
what
yeah,
we've
I
been
that's
agree.
saying.
I'm just saying where
it's just
the logic is now.
yeah.
But yes,
Yes.
the corners should be playing tighter. They should be confident in their play. They should be confident in knowing what they're looking for the quarterback to do. That obviously was not the case on Sunday, and it's been, for the most part, not the case except for Patrick Peterson, who is quite confident in his own skills.
Yeah. Um, I want to. Raymond has been kind of lighting up the chat as well, and I don't think we've alluded to any of his comments, but I do. I want to pose a question back to him. So he said to us, guys, this is a good team with bad coaching. When you have talent and getting poor results, this means your head coach and coaching staff are bad. Good leaders make better things, or things better. I do agree with that to a certain extent, but I still am in Raymond. You can chime in the chat with a response to what I'm about to say, but I still think that I don't know if there's another coach right now on the Vikings roster that would perform or make this team perform better. I really don't. And like as much grief as we give Zimmer, um, I think that he is the only person that will maximize our win potential um, as the Vikings, which is why I don't think that he will get fired until the season's over. I think they will ride it out till the end because I think Ziggy Wilf and Mark Wilf know that unless this team reaches the Super Bowl without a miracle play, we God forbid without another miracle play, because that's just gonna feed into everyone wanting to keep people around another season. Um, if they don't make a deep playoff run, I fully expect everything to be clean house. Rick is gone. I think the family tree of Mike Zimmer, Adam Zimmer, and everybody that's come along with them, they're going to be gone. I think it's the Wilfs have seen enough, and it's going to be a fresh slate after this season. So that's just kind of
I really
my
hope
thought
that we
there.
move on before the end of the season um,
But what's the point? What's
because
the point in doing
because
that?
and the only point is because you can, for the first time ever, interview head coaching candidates 2 weeks before the season ends
Yeah, but
with
just two
permission
weeks
from those
before.
teams. Just 2 weeks. So I'm not saying we need to fire him
Okay.
now. I'm not saying we need to fire him after the Packers game or whatever. But if we know we're not moving forward, give ourselves the best chance to go grab a Kellen Moore, to go grab a Brian DeBall, Joe Brady, if Brian Leftwich. There's obviously a lot of good offensive. I'm saying a lot of offensive guys. If you guys want to read an article around some of these coaching prospects, Tyler Fornes of the Climb in the Pocket Network here, he posted an article about some of the head coaching candidates that should be coming around this. I think he headlined Eric Bieniemy, very common name amongst Vikings circle here. Brian
But
DeBall,
legal
Cal,
background issues.
yeah, some legal background issues, which were like 30 years ago. And if you're going to let Matt Patricia get a job, let Eric Bieniemy. You have Joe Brady, young guy, managing the Panthers offense. Obviously, they don't look great, but he's a young offensive genius. Kellen Moore clearly is maximizing that Cowboys offense. Brian DeBall maximizing that Bills offense. And then I think he said Byron Leftwich, who does run fully on his own the Bucks offense. So obviously that's a lot of talent. So how good is his coaching versus how great is Tom Brady? But either way, those are all great coaching candidates. So you can read that article. However, my whole point is you can get a head start on interviewing those candidates before, because obviously there's going to be other coaches that are going to be let go before the end of the season. It happens every year. So you don't want to be the one that's getting into these candidates late and getting the leftovers of what's available, right? Of course, these
Okay.
teams need to let those coaches interview, which it'd be really crappy if they didn't, but they're going to be preparing for playoffs. I mean, all these coaches that I'm talking about are playoff teams outside of Joe Brady's Panthers. Actually, technically, I think they are the 7th seed right now. But anyway, Joe, I love Lincoln Riley. He's not leaving college football. And I'm not sure. I mean, I'm sure he would do fine in the NFL, but I'm just not 100% sure. I mean, it would be like a Cliff Kingsbury type experiment over a couple years to see if he can run that. There's a comment in here earlier too. Atheist for a cause had said we're the new Marvin Lewis. I think it's Marvin Lewis
Yeah,
Bengals.
Bengals.
They were
I
consistently making the playoffs. They were consistently making the playoffs. I mean, they were never great and they never won a playoff game, but at least they were consistently making the playoffs. And we are
yeah.
not. Like we're in every other team, they were doing it with a much less or a much worse offense than we had. They were just lucky they had Mike Zimmer there to create good defenses on those teams. So anyway, I'll
Quick
digress.
shout
Let you
out
guys talk.
to quick shout out to, and I don't know if he'd appreciate me saying this, but I'm gonna do it anyway. Quick shout out to Jordan Reed, who, first of all, is now with ESPN, so that's a huge accomplishment. So applause to Jordan Reed. He's worked his ass off to get there. He's a humble guy, and he deserves everything he's got coming to him. 2 years ago, maybe three, I think it maybe was right when Cousins was signed. He came into our group chat and he said this like the Vikings are the Bengals 2.0. Like it is Marvin Lewis and the Bengals all over again with Mike Zimmer and the Vikings. He called it 3 years ago, and you brought it up again. It just re-triggered my memory that he said that, and so I feel like I should give him a shout out. He's probably not even listening to this, but he deserves
Credit for
some
calling it 3 years ago.
congratulatory. Yeah,
Yep.
exactly. So
I want to hit up
let's
Daniel. Daniel says, just wait, there'll be a Hail Mary, some sort of every dying coach has one, and I agree. Daniel, we will
yeah,
probably see that. I'll show them, and we'll have some, really good games, and then.
and I
But
hope
yes,
that's
there'll be
true.
something. Hopefully, it's motivating
I
I,
for
really
him.
do.
I hope it's true. And here's the other thing too about Zimmer. He loves the underdog thing. Uh, they're an underdog right now. Nobody thinks they're good. Not one person. And if you do, well, I don't want to yuck your yum. If you think they're good, to each their own. But they have not proven to be good thus far. Zimmer can list
And,
stats in
and
his
it's
presser all he wants. They haven't proven they're good. Good teams
and
beat
it's good to
Cowboys teams with backup quarterbacks.
That's right. And it's good to like stay positive. I mean, I know we're being real negative on this show, and I apologize to all the listeners here. Um, it's good to be positive and keep that positive spirit and the optimistic spirit because you're right. I mean, we almost every single game we've been in this year. I mean, that's a positive, right? I mean, granted, we're losing more than we're winning, but we're still in those games. Even that last game, we were in it till the very end. We're putting up. I mean, we put up a fight against the Cowboys, and yes, you're missing your great quarterback, but we can't control what other teams' situations are. We can control our own. Yes, should we have won that game? Yes. Should we have beaten the Browns when they're having their worst game of their year? Yes. We should be beating the Bengals in overtime when we have the opportunity to take advantage of a Cardinals team that we were right there. You should be doing those things. The issue is we haven't put it together, and like I've been saying for the last 2 weeks, or the last whatever the last two games that we've had. Of course, I want us to win. I'm not picking us to lose because I don't like the Vikings. Like I love the Vikings and I want them to win, but I'm also a realist in saying I want you to show me that you deserve for me to pick you. Like if I'm actually betting money, I'm not betting money on the Vikings right now. And that's not a knock, and that's not me trying to be pessimistic. It's me being
I did
realistic
bet
that
money on them.
we do have glaring needs and gaps in this team, and it's hard for me to have the confidence to throw money on that kind of thing.
But you have
All
enough
of you who are
confidence in the
being
team to buy season tickets every year.
well, that's more the fanhood,
That's
right? Like
entertainment.
that, and typically I make at least a good portion of that money back, so I end up it makes sense, but not this year. Nobody bought my Cowboys tickets because nobody thought we'd win, and maybe Halloween had to do something with that. I don't know, but it's just I don't like being just all negative. I mean, there are some positives to take from this season. I mean, hey, maybe we found a kicker. Greg Joseph's been pretty good. I know he had that one miss, but outside of that,
He's had
like
the
he's been
couple.
pretty darn good.
Yeah.
I mean, I just meant the one important miss, right? Like we had the
Mm-hmm.
one important miss, but outside of that, he's been pretty
Yeah.
darn good. We've had good quality, like Darius looks competent. Obviously, he got worked a little bit this last game, but he had a lot of really good
Not as
reps
much as you
against Randy
think, though.
Gregory. No, I
Yeah,
don't think
Yeah,
he. I
he
don't think
played
he
well.
got destroyed or anything. He had a couple of bad reps against Gregory, who's a very good up and
Hmm.
coming. Like he's been around the league for a while, but he's finally playing really well this year. So he had a couple bad reps, but outside of that, he's been really good this year. Our offensive line as a
Yeah.
whole. We have Darius, we have Cleveland, we have O'Neal. So we still have two
Hmm.
holes. One of them could have been filled with Creed Humphrey, but that sucks, but that's fine. Our offense, our three receivers look still quality. Dalvin Cook looks like he did lose a step this year. I'm sure he's trying to fight through that injury, but He doesn't quite look the same as
Well,
he has in the last couple of
let me
years.
stop you there for a second. So I don't want you to reveal all your cards here before we
Yeah.
transition. So I feel like we've had 40 minutes of a therapy session so far. That's probably pretty expensive in the modern world. I should be charging like what, $150 for 40 minutes, something like that. But um, it does feel good to talk about it, get off your chest, especially instead of just like typing it out on Twitter and whatnot. But there are two things I still want to get to before the end of the show. So we'll spend the next 10 minutes on previewing this week's matchup against the Baltimore Ravens, aka the Michael Pierce revenge game. And then the last 5-10 minutes, we'll do an abbreviated lightning round and sum it up with predictions. So let's do this. We're feeling good now. My drink is almost out, but I think I can make it last till the end of the show. Um, so let's talk about this week's matchup. Dave, I'm going to start with you. Um, do you want to talk about offense or defense?
Well, just a tidbit that, believe it or not, the Baltimore secondary is rated, what was it, 28th or last against the pass. They're bad.
Yeah, yeah. I think that's a good point to bring up. I think the one thing I would caution is Marlon Humphreys is very good, and Calais Campbell is still somehow a force on the defensive line, which kind of scares me. Um, and a veteran pass rusher like himself can maybe, I know he primarily will probably play on Brian O'Neill's side, but he could maybe shift over to the other side and give Darisaw a little bit of work for his money, and show the rookie some moves he maybe hasn't seen before. Um, but yeah, let's start there. The Vikings offense versus the Ravens defense. We talked about Marlon Humphreys. We talked about Calais Campbell. Ryan, are there any other notable Ravens players that we should be aware about as Vikings fans? And on the opposite side of that, how can we exploit them with what we have on offense? Because we do have good players.
Well, I say this every week, I feel like, right? Like we have these like opportunities, right? Where we're playing teams that are banged up on the secondary, like the Ravens, right? They're out Marcus Peters and whatnot. We play a team with a defensive line that doesn't look great, and then they somehow just kick our ass. So I'm not going to discount any of these. I don't care if they're the 29th ranked secondary. They got good players back there. Chuck Clark is a very good safety. Deshaun Elliott's a very good safety. Marlon Humphrey is top 5, top 10 cornerback in the league. Anthony Everett's not very good. Jimmy Smith has lost a step. Tavon Young is a decent slot corner, but he's nothing special. Calais Campbell, obviously, you had mentioned. Brandon Williams is a beast. Big, just plotter up as a nose tackle. I think you're getting the twilight years of Justin Houston. I don't think he's much. He'll go against whoever, right? Either Darisaw or O'Neill. The other side, they got Tyus Bowser. He's up and coming. They have a rookie in Owe, who I know Tyler really liked coming out of college, and he's really shown flashes in the NFL so far. But I don't think he's put up things consistently. I think areas for opportunity is the linebackers aren't great between those three I just mentioned, and then their inside linebackers and Patrick Queen. And I don't even is it Josh Bynes maybe, and there is their other one. I can't remember, but
Yeah, that sounds correct.
yeah, they are. Patrick Queen's fast. He's quick. He can dissect things quickly. He misses tackles. He over pursues. So I mean, there's opportunities for us to exploit that a little. Hopefully, our run game can get going a little in that sense. But again, you have to get through Calais Campbell and Brandon Williams, and that's hard enough as it is. And our run game just hasn't been good this year. And then on the flip side, you have our passing offense. Again, in theory, yeah, you're right, Dave. They're 28th best pass defense in the league. You should be able to throw against them. but where's the confidence in Kirk Cousins to do so? Like, I just
See,
have no
that's my
confidence.
point.
Like,
That's my point.
that's the issue. Is like, yeah, in theory, yes, you should be able to take some deep shots against this team. Try to, you assume Marlon Humphrey's going to line up against Jefferson all game, which should lead for KJ Osborne and for Adam Thielen, obviously, to get some opportunity to make some plays. You got to take
But
the
how
shots. You
frustrated
got
are
to
they
throw the
going to be
ball.
if they're running wide open downfield all day and CJ Ham is getting 8 targets?
Well, I mean, I
There was
agree,
there was
but
a
like
clip
again,
where you could see Jefferson get frustrated when Kirk checked it down. It's in Luke's article. It's in one of the clips. You can see Jefferson streaking wide open across midfield, and he just does the little like arms thrown down, like what the hell?
Well, you
He's
got.
starting, folks.
I'm
yep,
starting to feel for CJ Ham. CJ Ham's turning around and going, "Oh shit, I'm getting the ball again."
yeah.
You know, and
He's like, I don't. I mean, he's like, he wants the ball, but he doesn't really want the ball.
yeah,
Like,
he doesn't. He
he's
wants
like, you
a
guys pay
full.
all this money to Thielen and Jefferson. Like, he's got a nice contract. He makes like $3 million a year or something like that. The funny fact about CJ Ham, I was just hanging out with my neighbor Travis, and apparently they're like buddies, and he lives, not that far away from me. And apparently they're buddies, so I might need to link up with him and let him
Get
know
him
that
on
I
the show.
appreciate
We'll
all
talk
the
to him.
the,
Get
the
him on the
beatings
show,
he's
Ryan.
taken for us on all these
Tell him
checkdowns.
we'll advocate for his salary to be raised since he's being used as a wide receiver now.
Yeah, they'll have to
Let's
notate that in the
Bill
in the
resume.
contract negotiations.
let's shift to the other side of the ball here. Our defense versus their offense. I feel like that's the storyline this weekend.
Oh, it's going to be a big
Um,
one.
I, I keep saying every week. I do think the offense gets on track this weekend. They have to, right? It's kind of do or die. The defense has kept us in most of these games, right? And so this is maybe the first time in the last 3, 4 weeks where we have a legitimate threat that we're facing um, at quarterback. And I'm not trying to dismiss the previous players we had, but I mean Cooper Rush, Sam Darnold. I'm already forgetting kind of who we
Jared
played this
Goff.
season. Jared Goff, yeah. So when you think about those quarterbacks previously, it's whatever. We should have done better, but what I'm curious to see is the Vikings going against former MVP Lamar Jackson. They did a good job with Russell Wilson, but this is different. This is different. Uh, they also did a good job with Kyler Murray for the most part, but I think Lamar's maybe a little bit. I mean, is he faster than Kyler Murray? Ryan, you would know that.
Yeah, yeah. Straight line speed, he's faster. I would say Kyler's probably a little like bursty. Like his acceleration is probably a little better, but from
Yeah,
like an
just
agile
start
and
stop
speed
maybe.
perspective, yeah, exactly. But from an agile speed perspective, Lamar is, and they use him that way. Like Kyler this year, I mean, he's not being used as a runner barely at all.
Yeah,
Where Lamar is for sure. So, yep.
yeah. So we have Lamar Jackson to face. For any Gopher fans listening, Rashad Bateman
Mhm.
is out there. He's starting. He's looked pretty good in his first couple of games. I think the one thing that scares me historically, I feel like we have not done well against tight ends this year. Mark Andrews and Lamar Jackson have a legit connection. I think just a few weeks back, we saw Mark Andrews just go off. Nobody could stop him. And as long as that man is healthy, I do rank him up with George Kittle and Travis Kelsey as the best tight ends in the NFL.
Well,
He
PFF
is
has him as the number one tight end
Yeah,
in the league
he
right
can
now.
do it all, and no one, no, I think
Hey,
people
hey,
kind of
where
sleep
did he
on
go to
him a little
college
bit.
again, Matt?
Yep. I think he went to the U of M actually, along with
They
Rashad
wish.
Bateman.
They wish.
But no, I think there's some some big pieces you have to stop, and we can't forget about Hollywood Brown. I know that that's another Oklahoma Sooner fan or player for Ryan to call home about. So we got him. And they have some other guys as well. I don't know if Duvernay is playing, but they have Watkins, Sammy Watkins as well. He's a vet. Um, And we saw A.J. Green have a resurgence against us when we played the Cardinals, so who's to say Sammy Watkins can't? I think the defense is up for a taller task this week than the offense. And so, uh, Dave, I don't know
Especially
if you had.
since Danielle Hunter will be out. And the one thing that
Yes.
Baltimore's been susceptible to is edge pressure. And
Mm-hmm.
then also Patrick Peterson is still out. We have, as
Yep.
of today, we saw Cameron Dantzler was out on the injury report. Whether it's that way by the
Mm-hmm.
end of the week, we don't know. We don't know the extent of his injury. Um, it's one of those where you're going, I don't know about that. And I suspect Harrison Smith will be lighter in the pocket after this week. But
Yeah. Hopefully, he doesn't choke somebody out this week. Um, Ryan, before we head over into lightning round, I highlighted a bunch of players, a bunch of threats on the Ravens offensive side of the ball. How are we going to stop it?
Pray. I don't know. Hey, you're stopping that offense. This is the
How
this is
are
the
we
one
going to
matchup that I.
slow them down?
How do you slow this offense down? I mean, you do whatever. Call Aaron Glenn, the defensive coordinator for the Lions, and figure out what he did. Like, there's obviously a way to slow this offense down. He shut them down. They had to win by a 66-yard field goal. He held them into the teens. So like it can be done. I think typically that how it's done is you shut down the run game, including Lamar Jackson. How that happens, I'm not sure. Like,
do you
run
know
contain, but he can.
who's Baltimore's number one running back right now?
It's Latavius Murray.
Devontae Freeman.
It's
No, I
Latavius
think
Murray.
he's hurt. He's hurt.
They've
Is he
got four
hurt?
running backs that have played and done snaps, but the number one is Latavius.
Latavius,
Yeah,
Devontae
he's
Freeman,
he's
Le'Veon
been
Bell.
like their he's given the most opportunities, but I think he's hurt. He might be back this week. I'm not sure, but he's been hurt. He missed last week. So Devontae Freeman, I think, started last week. Le'Veon Bell got some carries, I'm sure, and Tyson Williams. But regardless, if you can shut down Lamar Jackson's running ability and you can shut down the run game, you're going to force Lamar to throw the ball. People try to say he's inaccurate. I think Atheist for a Cause said that he has a noodle arm and can't throw unless his receivers are open by 5 yards. That's not accurate. I mean, I'm not trying to call you out there, but like he's a very accurate passer. I think he I can't remember the exact number.
Yeah, but he
We were
can
doing
sail them.
we had an yeah.
He can be in that.
For
He can
sure.
have
I'm
bad
not saying
days like just about every quarterback.
every quarterback has those bad days, and he's shown those on prime time, which is probably why a lot of people have that perception of him. But if you look at his stats, he's actually a pretty accurate passer, and he gets his players open and he throws them open. It helps when you have elite speed like Hollywood. Rashad Bateman can create separation like the best of them. And Mark Andrews is just a big body that knows to get open and has strong hands. So, I mean, when you
Mm-hmm.
have those three guys, you have some Duvernay and Proche who are kind of gadget type guys, and then Sammy Watkins, who everyone forgets about. You have a
Yeah.
potent offense, and when you're taking away a safety on every play because you have to have help over to the top for Hollywood, it opens up a lot for everyone else. And if you don't give that, you open yourself up for that big shot. And Hollywood's shown to be more than just a deep threat this year. I mean, he's put up great fantasy numbers because I have him on a couple teams, and he's becoming more like a Tyreek Hill White. I'm not saying he is Tyreek Hill, but he's running across the middle. He's getting into those zones. He's catching the ball and getting down, right? Or making a big play out of it. And then, of course, he still can go over the top. So, I mean, this offense is going to be tough. It's going to be tough because once you have the run game contained, they have the ability to throw it. And if you try to
Mm-hmm.
contain that as much as you can and help with the safeties over top, it opens up the run game. So they're in kind of a really good spot for Greg Roman as offense coordinator to really call some good plays against us. But who knows? Zimmer's a great defensive mind, as we all know. So hopefully he can figure it out.
Discipline will be key this weekend in stopping the Ravens. I think they have to be on their A game. But I'm also hoping, and this is something I'm trying to do more of, when I'm thinking about the Vikings. We always sit here and talk about opposing teams and how we view them, but we need to start thinking about how teams view us and how, like, I'm sure the Ravens fan base right now is sitting here thinking these guys just got beat by Cooper fucking Rush on Sunday Night Football. We're gonna They're gonna come into our home and stomp all. We're gonna stomp all over them. Like it's game over. I'm sure that's what they're thinking, right? And reality is, we're not. Zimmer usually does have one dud game a year where they just get completely blown out. Maybe it's this weekend, but historically they do tend to fight pretty hard through most games. And I expect nothing less this weekend. Before we hit lightning round here, Dave, quick shout out to Eric Kendricks, who
Okay.
is maybe my favorite player on the Minnesota Vikings. Um, he is just an incredible player on and off the field. And if nothing else this season, I just want fans to appreciate him in his play style and what he's given to the Vikings since he's been drafted here. He's been absolutely incredible, and um, it's just one of those players that I know we're going to look back on and be like, "Wow, how did we forget that he was that good?" Um, but we see it week in and week out, and he's going to be another crucial player in this week's matchup, probably against Lamar Jackson. So uh, Dave is laughing about something here.
Oh, just the guys talking about I could run through him, and Joseph is, what do you mean? Dave's like a bus,
So,
more like a tank.
with that being said, um, let's fire up lightning round and get to predictions here. If we got that music, Dave, hit it up.
We do. Hold on.
I didn't prep you guys this weekend, so I hope you're ready.
And the music's going.
Uh, I only have like three each, but like I said, it abbreviated this week. So we'll start with over under, and it's kind of making fun of last week, but I'll start with Dave. It's making fun of last week, but over or under Kirk's average depth of target being 4.5 yards.
It better be over.
I, I I'm asking
Or
you
if
what
you
you
think
think,
my
not what you
rant
want it to be.
tonight was intense, if he throws for under, watch the final score on Sunday, and I will go off. It's going to be over.
Just clear out 5 minutes in the final score on Sunday, and Dave will just have his own section here. Um, Ryan, over or under the Vikings defense holding the Ravens offense to 150 yards or less. They are averaging 149 rushing yards through 7 games at 4.9 yards a clip. Their yards per carry is more than Kirk's average depth of target.
I'm gonna go over. I think we're.
You think that?
Yeah,
Oh,
I
shit.
just, yeah. I think they're gonna be able to run. We have a hard time stopping the run, especially on like the outside zone stuff. They're creative with pulling guards and their center and their tackles to create spaces out in the outside zones. And without Danielle Hunter, I don't have confidence in our defensive ends to kind of put up a fight against that. So,
All right. Dave, Justin Jefferson, 7.5 targets. Over or under? Keep in mind, CJ Ham only had 3, or had 3 last week, which was more than Justin Jefferson somehow.
Well, it seems this season that one game Adam Thielen will get 8, and another game Justin Jefferson will get 8 or 9, and they've gone back and forth. It's just last week it happened to be CJ Ham. I would suspect that they noticed that we need to throw the ball more, so
Yeah.
I'd say over. It's going to be one of those things. If Kirk Cousins doesn't, you're going to hear about it from me on Sunday.
All right.
I'll go over.
Now make that a 10-minute rant on Sunday for Dave potentially. Ryan, buy or sell the offense?
Wait, hold on. I got an
funk.
over under for you, Matt.
Oh shit! All right.
I got an over under for you.
Okay.
Over under 0.5 that Harrison Smith tries to choke out another Oklahoma player on the opposing team this week.
Oh, it's under. I don't know what the hell that was, but I think that was just maybe some frustration he had to let out. But he's gonna get fined / suspended. Just wait for it. It's gonna happen.
Yeah.
I do want to
So
hit
under
Vikings.
because he's not going to play.
At the end of the show.
Viking Jerome asked, why can't Andre Patterson call plays on the defense and let Zimmer just be a head coach? Jerome, that may be the answer. That might exactly be the answer. The question is, will Mike Zimmer consider it?
Yeah, does Zimmer trust them to do that? That's the key.
We're getting
I
the
mean,
portrayal. Zimmer's a control freak, and of course we know Cousins is a control freak, and I think it's one of the reasons why they butt heads. But I don't know if he will. I think that would be a good decision if he did let him do that.
Yeah. I mean, I do too, but I don't even think back when Jerry Gray was here, which was the longtime assistant for Zim, he wouldn't even let him do that. Or no. I'm thinking of the other defensive coordinator who went to Dallas after he left here. Any help?
George Edwards.
Yep.
But Atheist says, if Zimmer isn't calling defense, then why is he a head coach? I heard the stat this week, there's good. It's well over a third of the league. The head coaches do call whatever side they're on plays. So it's not abnormal.
Mary, the season is not over. It's not over yet, but we're not done with lightning round either. So just a few more things here. Oh yeah, get that music going again. Ryan, are you buying or selling the offense getting out of its funk this weekend against the Ravens?
This weekend, you know what? I think we play to whatever our opponents are doing, right? So if they're putting up points, we're going to put up points. If it's a defensive struggle, we're going to allow it to be a defensive struggle because our offense isn't going to match. So I assume the Ravens offense is going to run a little wild on our defense. So I assume that our offense will at least have the appearance of looking good this week.
To add to that, I was listening to a Ravens podcaster today, one of their biggest ones. You know what the Ravens complain about?
Oh, I'm ready.
They're playing to the level of their opponents. They barely beat Detroit with a NFL record kick in the last second. They lost to the Bengals, right? Or whatever team it was they lost to. And they've won the other ones. And they said their fans are getting frustrated because they are literally doing the same thing we do, where they either play down or they play up, or they play down or they play up. And he's afraid he's afraid that when the Vikings come to town, they'll play down.
Oh.
But we play to our opponents, so who's gonna call the bluff of the other? Who's going to be the good team? Who's going to be the bad team?
I have the answer for that. We've been talking about head coaches, right? Is this man better at doing his job than Mike Zimmer is?
Significant.
Oh man, we're going to need a whole nother hour show to talk about this.
He's a top 2 head coach in the league, I think. Maybe top 3.
He's very underrated. Very underrated by most people. I want to give a quick shout out to my buddy John. Ryan, you went golfing with him this summer. As soon as he heard that Dak Prescott was out moments before the game Sunday, I was chatting with him. He called the loss. He said, we play down to our opponents, mark it up as a loss. They're going to blow this thing. And so I just want to give him credit where credit's due. The other buy sell I have tonight is for Dave. It's kind of a joke because I made these up at the last moment. But are you buying or selling Kirk not being able to use timeouts?
Oh, I'm selling that. He's been able to use timeouts. It's Kirk. Bullshit.
And then we got 2 headlines for you guys before we head off to some predictions here. So, Ryan, I'll give you the choice as co-host. Do you want Kirk Vember or not dead yet?
Not dead yet, or what? Kirk Timber? What? Kirk? No,
Kirk
Kirk
Vember.
member?
Vember.
Kirk Vember.
Kirk Vember. Not dead yet. And I think the headline is that we lost the game, but Mike Zimmer's still not fired. He still has an opportunity to redeem himself.
All right. Douglas has dead and rotting in the comments, which I love that.
Woo!
Dave, Kirk Vember. What happened in the game to get that headline?
To get Kirk Vember, he'd have to come out and throw like 4+ touchdowns.
Oh man!
And Kirk,
right. How
good
many
Kirk.
picks? Anything?
Kirk Vember is here. 350+ yards,
Ooh.
4 touchdowns.
I like
There
that
you go.
dead man walking. That's a good headline down there. Douglas, I'm gonna have to tap into you next week for some more headlines. I also,
But
before
hey,
we get
instead
to
of dead man walking, it should be dead men walking, and it should be like a picture of Kirk, Zim,
yeah,
Rick, all walking in like a line with like shadows and dark eerie. Yeah, because they're all
I saw somebody post in the comments that maybe a new section we could plug into lightning round, which is just write that down. I think that'd be a fun segment.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Give me
Let's
your
do
write
next
that
week.
down. Yeah, let's do that. So let's dive into predictions. Shit, we don't have a guest again. Doug or Douglas, I don't know what you prefer to go by. Give us your score prediction. You're going to be our guest this week. Man, I'm going to go last. I'm going to put the pressure on you guys. I know what Ryan's going to pick, and so Ryan's going to pick the
Just
Ravens.
realistic,
Tell
man.
me the score you
Don't
want.
like, hey, like, let's not make me be the bad guy. Okay, I'm just being realistic. I'm 4-2.
5-2.
I'm 5-2. I have a
Just
good
like the
pulse
Ravens.
I mean, maybe I should go to Vegas and start betting some money. But unfortunately, I had to take a loss again this week. Hey, I picked us to win against the Seahawks when we weren't supposed to, right? But we did.
Okay. Okay.
Give me a break. But the Ravens, Lamar Jackson's a former MVP. That offense is humming a little bit. Sure, they play down to their opponents, but they're still winning those games, unlike us playing down to our opponents and losing those games. So I'm going to say that we're going to win this game, or we're going to lose this game 38-28.
Okay. Sorry, I burst out laughing looking at that comment there.
Shit pants on the sideline. That's funny. Wayne win. Good one.
Yeah, that's funny. I'll call out Douglas's score prediction here as our guest of the week. He picks the Vikings to lose on Sunday in Baltimore, 28-14. Ooh, shit, man! I hope we score more than 14. And Julie calls for us to get drunk and get angry.
Angry Dave
so
back.
maybe one of these Wednesdays, if we're down for it, we do a late night Vikings happy hour and then just get Dave really angry.
Yeah, but Dave's got to operate the buttons and everything, make sure stuff works.
Dave, what is your double doink 9-3? Dave, what is your score prediction for this week?
I'm going Baltimore. I think it's going to be relatively close. Say 24-21 Baltimore.
Okay.
First time Dave's picked us to lose outside of the time where he was doing it
sacrifice.
As a jinx. So this is the first time
like,
he's actually predicting us to lose.
Yeah.
I just don't see it. And I believe Baltimore's coming out of the bye. And John Harbaugh's record out of the bye is like 16-1.
the Ravens also are like a 7-point, a six and a quarter, whatever, favorite so far. The score is projected to be around 42 or 48.4. So,
which isn't a high scoring game.
You know what? Call me stupid. I know I'm probably the only one.
You'll take the basement. Lame. One of us will be in the basement next week.
I hope you're right.
I am a Zimmer defender till the end. I believe in him. My wife just gave me the biggest eye roll she's ever given me, I think, in our 6 years of marriage. I am a Zim defender. I believe he's got one last-ditch effort to try and get this team back, and I think it starts right now. I think they stop Lamar. I think they contain that offense. Contain, in quotation marks. I think they probably score 28 still, the Ravens. But I do have the Vikings winning 34-28. So if I were betting in Vegas, I'd take the over on the score, and then I'd also just take the Vikings in general. Ryan.
I love it, man. I love the optimism. I love it.
Well, is it optimism or just stupidity? We'll come to find out.
It's complete stupidity. It's complete stupidity.
It's blind fandom.
Point, it's 7 weeks in, 8 weeks in now. I'm just playing to the bit at this point. But I do.
I was gonna say at this point, it's you're not delusional. I know you enough. You're not delusional. You think we're gonna actually win this game. You're basically just trying to not be a complete ass and have all of us pick the Vikings to lose. So I get it. Thank you for sacrificing your record. I like to win.
I am the host.
The Vikings, so I picked the correct, the correct winners.
I am the host, and I told Mary that playoffs are still in reach because, as Everson Griffin said, if we win the next 10, we're 13-4. And you know what, folks? He's not wrong.
He's not wrong.
If you win 10 games in a row, you would technically be 13-4. So, with that being said, I hope everybody's feeling a little bit better after this Vikings Happy Hour / therapy session. The chat was lit up, so I know people are frustrated, but you always have a space to come back to every Wednesday night. I'm hearing an echo, but anyway, you always have a place to come back every Wednesday night to hang out with us and just vent and comment and talk, and we'll be here for you. And I promise I'll work to get a good guest on here soon, so it's not just us three bozos talking about what all you guys know about. So, Dave, I'll let you send us home here.
Hey, tomorrow night we have Vikings Hot Take after their week off. They will be back. They sent all the same questions so far, and it was like, what? But it should be more involved than that. And then Saturday, you get me and Darren as we dive into the numbers and look at this game in all actuality. And as always, guys, Climbing the Pocket is here for you. We apologize that last night in the huddle was not on, but some of the guys couldn't make it. But we're here. We're on Facebook. We're on the web. We're partnered with Daily Norseman. You know where to find us. You can always contact us. You see our Twitter tags, our Twitter handles in the rollout. By all means, give us a contact. As always, like, subscribe, ring the bell, and share this with all your friends, especially your Packers friends, because they get all wound up over it. Anyways, have a good night. Stay safe. Stay healthy. Don't lie about your COVID. And SKOL Vikings! Thank you for watching or listening. As always, if you like, subscribe, and ring the bell for notifications. And if you're listening to the podcast, please rate us on your favorite aggregator. SKOL, everybody.